In the wild, danger rarely gives warning. There are no alarm bells, only a silence taut as a bowstring before the explosion. A blade of grass swaying, a glint of eyes from the shadows, or a slowing heartbeat can signal the start of a life-or-death chase. The predator waits for the perfect moment. The prey relies on instinct. When that boundary is shattered, who will control the game? Across tropical and subtropical regions of Africa, Asia, Australia, and the Americas, crocodiles inhabit rivers, lakes, swamps, estuaries, and brackish waters. Saltwater crocodiles have been recorded with a bite force of nearly 3,700 pound force, enough to make any close encounter extremely perilous. From a distance, the pack of wild dogs stood motionless, watching before splitting to flank the reptile. One dog suddenly lunged forward, while another immediately closed in from the opposite side, rapidly escalating the intensity of the confrontation. The crocodile whipped its body around and snapped its jaws at the approaching dogs, forcing the pack to constantly dodge and retreat before circling back to press the attack. The assaults came in quick succession, yet no single wild dog could hold its position long enough to gain an advantage. Ultimately, the pack was forced to withdraw to a safe distance, leaving the crocodile standing its ground. In this clash, even the collective strength and coordinated teamwork of the wild dogs proved insufficient to overcome the crocodile. In East and Southern Africa, particularly, Kenya impalas inhabit savannas, grasslands, open woodlands, and scrublands near water sources. Open terrain allows them to utilize their speed and agility to change direction when danger arises. However, when an impala becomes separated from the herd near the water's edge, the terrain itself begins to shift that advantage. Sensing an opportunity, the pack of wild dogs immediately fans out and accelerates from multiple directions. The impala repeatedly changes course and plunges into the water to escape the pursuit, but the depth rapidly slows it down. Meanwhile, the wild dogs maintain pressure through their stamina and coordinated teamwork, steadily closing the gap. Deprived of the speed and space needed to pull away, the impala ultimately loses the chase. This outcome demonstrates how terrain can directly alter the balance of advantage between predator and prey, while stamina and coordinated tactics enable the wild dogs to sustain the hunt. Their success also secures a food source that can be shared among the pack members. Ranging from sub-Saharan Africa to parts of Asia, leopards inhabit savannas, open woodlands, rainforests, mountainous regions, semi-deserts, and dry scrublands. While they can reach speeds of 34 to 37 miles per hour in short bursts, their greatest advantage lies in their ability to remain unseen and close the distance stealthily. A leopard capitalizes on this advantage as a herd of impalas approaches a deep gully. From a distance, the leopard locks onto a specific impala, lowering its body and moving silently along the gully to close the gap. It pauses whenever the prey appears alert, resuming its approach when the moment is right. As the impala steps near the edge of the gully, the leopard suddenly springs forward. The startled impala accelerates, darting and changing direction repeatedly in a tense chase. With the leopard hot on its heels, the impala maintains its balance, constantly shifting direction to disrupt the predator's attack. When the leopard lunges again, but has to adjust its position, the impala seizes the opportunity to bolt into the open grassland, widening the gap. The leopard is forced to abandon the chase, and the impala escapes. This clash between predator and prey maintains the balance of survival. Across the savannas, grasslands, and open woodlands of sub-Saharan Africa, warthogs typically inhabit areas near water, mud wallows, and burrows. Adults weigh between 110 and 330 pounds, boasting sturdy bodies and 2 pairs of tusks. In males, the upper tusks can exceed 24 inches in length. These tusks serve as formidable defensive weapons, yet one individual, ambling along a dirt track, unwittingly wanders into a perilous situation. Just off the path, a leopard presses its body low into the dry grass, its eyes locked on the warthog's every movement. It remains motionless whenever the prey lifts its head in alertness, then immediately creeps forward to close the gap as the warthog resumes walking. With only a few paces remaining, the leopard suddenly springs from its hiding spot and charges. Startled, the warthog pivots sharply and points its tusks at its adversary, forcing the leopard to dodge quickly to the side. The confrontation instantly intensifies. The warthog charges and wheels around to counterattack, while the leopard constantly circles to the flank, retreats, and then suddenly closes in again. Each time the tusks thrust forward, the leopard shifts position, waiting for an opening. When the warthog loses its balance during a sharp turn, the leopard immediately lunges, subdues its prey, and brings the hunt to a close. The warthog possesses a robust build, and sharp tusks features enough to make any predator wary. The leopard, meanwhile, relies on stealth, lightning-fast reflexes, and constantly shifting attack angles. When defensive might clashes with ambush tactics, a split-second error determines the outcome. The contrast between these two survival strategies helps maintain the natural balance. Across the vast savannas of sub-Saharan Africa, with Botswana serving as a key habitat, African wild dogs roam widely in search of food, inhabiting grasslands, open woodlands, scrublands, and semi-arid regions. Amidst this landscape, a pack of wild dogs is gathered around their pups, but the surrounding calm is about to be broken. The disruption comes from a lion silently watching from behind low-lying bushes. It stealthily closes the distance, keeping its body low and waiting for the perfect moment before suddenly accelerating toward the pack. The adult wild dogs immediately scatter, turning to sound the alarm and circling to draw attention away from the pups. Yet the pressure from the lion continues to mount. This relentless pressure prevents the pack from maintaining the formation they typically use when hunting. The adults retreat while ushering the pups to safety, as the lion encroaches on their space, forcing the entire pack to abandon their original position. Ultimately, the wild dogs are compelled to withdraw, leaving the lion with the clear upper hand in the confrontation. This outcome demonstrates that collective strength is not always sufficient to counter a larger adversary at close range. While wild dogs possess advantages in numbers, endurance, and coordination, the lion holds the edge in size, physical power, and the ability to exert direct pressure. In this instance, the lion's overwhelming power proved to be the deciding factor. During the dry season in sub-Saharan Africa, buffaloes often congregate near rivers, lakes, and areas with abundant water. They are distributed across East, Central, and Southern Africa, inhabiting environments ranging from savannas, grasslands, acacia woodlands, and miombo forests to scrublands and mountainous terrain. In one lowland area, a buffalo with a leg injury was moving slowly. Its heavy, labored steps soon drew the attention of predators watching from the surrounding high ground. This sluggish movement quickly caught the eye of a hidden pride of lions. They immediately split up. One lion approached from the front, while the others flanked the sides to cut off any escape route. When the buffalo turned to attempt an uphill climb, one lion lunged forward while two others closed the circle, forcing the prey to constantly change direction in a desperate bid to flee. Repeated changes in direction exhausted the buffalo, aggravated its injury, and eroded its safety margin. It tried to charge, turn to defend itself, and seek an exit, but the lions took turns closing in, steadily mounting the pressure. After a prolonged struggle, the buffalo no longer had the strength to maintain its defense, and the pride ultimately emerged victorious. The events of this hunt demonstrate how a single physical weakness can completely shift the balance of power between the two sides. The lions capitalized on timing, positioning, and coordination to successfully bring down their prey. The large catch subsequently provided a vital source of nutrition for the entire pride, helping them maintain their energy and continue surviving in the wild. In the arid landscapes of southern Africa, spanning South Africa, southern Namibia, and Botswana, the Cape cobra makes its home. Adapted to the Karoo, grasslands, savannas, and dry scrublands, it is primarily terrestrial, but capable of climbing low trees in search of food. In an open clearing, a Cape cobra suddenly spots a mongoose approaching. The gap closes rapidly as the mongoose circles its opponent, constantly changing direction and probing for a reaction. The Cape cobra immediately rears up, spreading its hood in warning, and repeatedly lunges at its encroaching adversary. However, The mongoose springs backward with lightning speed, dodging every strike before instantly circling to a new angle to maintain the pressure. The relentless attacks force the Cape cobra to constantly pivot in defense, while the mongoose keeps up its rapid movement, waiting for the right moment. As the snake begins to slow down, the mongoose suddenly darts in close, quickly retreating before the next counterstrike can land. Eventually, the Cape cobra lowers its defensive stance and withdraws from the area. The mongoose has won the encounter. This clash demonstrates that while venom grants the Cape cobra a formidable defense, the mongoose relies on lightning-fast reflexes, agility, and impeccable timing. In the wild, strength lies not merely in weaponry, but in how each species leverages its unique advantages to survive. In every confrontation, strength, speed, reflexes, and coordination can determine the outcome in mere moments. No single species holds an absolute advantage in every situation, as terrain, timing, and instinct constantly shift the balance. In the wild, survival belongs to those who can adapt, react at the right moment, and make the most of their advantages. The moment a lion spots its prey, the hunt might seem destined to be decided by sheer power and timing. Yet, across the vast grasslands, even a slight misstep or an unexpected reaction from the prey can completely turn the tide, forcing the lion to retreat. So in that fleeting moment, what truly determines whether the hunt succeeds or fails? Along the major rivers and freshwater swamps of Zambia, hippos spend much of their time submerged to escape the heat. An adult can weigh between 1,500 and 3,200 kilograms, boasting a jaw that opens nearly 150 degrees and a bite force of around 1,800 pounds per square inch. Their massive size, thick skin, and shallow water habitat give them a distinct advantage. Once they step away from the water's edge, every movement around them is closely monitored. There is no immediate sign of an attack, yet pressure gradually mounts around the hippo as it nears the bank. The lions move in an arc, inching closer before pausing and constantly shifting positions to find an angle of approach. As the gap narrows, they increase the pressure, but the hippo pivots continuously, gaping threateningly and keeping its head turned toward them, thwarting every attempt to close in or secure a hold. The pressure is insufficient to break the hippo's stance. Maintaining its distance, the hippo backs slowly toward the water before accelerating into the safety of the depths. Unable to sustain the momentum of the attack, the pride is forced to halt. The confrontation ends with the hippo escaping safely, and the hunt is abandoned. In freshwater swamps like the Everglades, where murky water limits visibility, the crocodile holds an almost absolute advantage. This environment allows it to remain almost entirely submerged, revealing only its eyes and nostrils above the surface. Its cold, patient nature ensures no wasted movement. it waits for the perfect moment to strike, and this very stillness makes any surrounding activity unpredictable. When a lion is forced to swim across such waters, its movement slows noticeably. Each stroke creates ripples, betraying its position in the low-visibility environment. The water remains deceptively calm, offering no clear warning signs. Just as the lion nears the bank, a sudden, violent surge erupts from beneath the surface, forcing the animal to instantly change course. At that precise moment, the crocodile lunges forward with explosive power, jaws agape to snap shut on its target. The lion reacts swiftly, twisting its body and thrashing the water to accelerate away from the point of contact. Their movements collide in the confined space, placing immense pressure on both adversaries. The lion manages to scramble onto the bank before being seized, while the crocodile misses the critical window and fails to complete the ambush. Across the vast grasslands of East Africa, where visibility is high and tree cover sparse, zebras move in herds near seasonal water sources. While not the fastest of creatures, they can reach speeds of nearly 40 miles per hour and maintain that pace over long distances. This endurance allows them to keep danger at bay. Yet, when cornered, their response is not merely to flee, but to stand their ground and fight back. At the edge of the herd, a lioness silently stalks a youngster that is lagging behind. Keeping her body low, she creeps closer in short bursts before suddenly accelerating. The charge is swift. Her claws latch onto the young zebra in a split second. Victory seems assured, as the prey has no chance to break free from the mounting pressure. But the situation suddenly shifts. The mother zebra turns back, charging head-on and pressing the attack. She bites and delivers a powerful kick with her hind leg toward the lioness's head. The force of the blow compels the lioness to retreat to avoid injury. The grip is broken. The youngster escapes and races back to the safety of the herd. The lioness is forced to give up. As the herd resumes its movement, order is quickly restored. In this open landscape, speed is not the only deciding factor. The ability to turn back at the right moment and mount a fierce defense can completely alter the outcome. For the predator, even the slightest misstep can cause the opportunity to vanish entirely. Across the vast, open grasslands of Africa, African wild dogs exploit the open terrain to survey their surroundings and coordinate as a pack. The lack of obstacles allows them to execute tactics and maintain communication through distinctive vocalizations and body language. Their ability to coordinate positioning, adapt tactics to the terrain, and share food makes every confrontation unpredictable, forcing the predator to time its move with precision. The moment an opportunity arises, a lioness approaches from behind, singles out an individual that has strayed from the pack and suddenly accelerates. The approach is swift. She clamps her jaws onto the prey and drags it away from the safety of the group. Contrary to the typical reaction, the wild dog remains motionless and does not fight back, allowing the lioness to maintain control during those initial seconds. However, as her grip begins to loosen, the situation shifts instantly. Distracted by movement elsewhere, the lioness loses focus. The wild dog springs up and accelerates away from the point of contact. The gap widens in a split second, leaving the lioness unable to turn in time. The hunt ends with the prey escaping through a clever ruse, and the opportunity vanishes in that very moment. Across the vast grasslands of East Africa, where tall trees are scarce and visibility is wide, wildebeest move in herds, staying close to seasonal water sources. Their environment compels them to undertake continuous, long-distance migrations. Naturally timid, yet highly vigilant, the herd reacts swiftly to the slightest change. Ironically, this collective panic often creates openings for predators lurking nearby. From the edge of the herd, a lioness tracks the movement, waiting for a moment of disarray. As the herd bunches together near the water, she lowers her body and suddenly bursts into a sprint. The approach is lightning fast. Her claws lock onto the target, dragging the prey out of formation. In those first few seconds, the advantage lies entirely with the predator. But at the point of capture, the prey fights back fiercely. The wildebeest summons all its strength to thrash and break the lioness's grip, then twists its head to thrust its horns forward. The counterforce throws the lioness off balance, completely breaking her hold. The prey tears itself free, widening the gap and accelerating beyond her reach. The lioness falters, forced to abandon the hunt as the opportunity vanishes. As movement stabilizes, the savanna returns to its former state. Amidst the ceaseless migration, the herd's chaos presents both peril and a chance for escape. For the predator, the window of opportunity is fleeting. Without sustained pressure, the prize slips away. In the semi-arid regions of East Africa, characterized by sparse, tall trees and expansive vistas, giraffes can spot danger from a great distance. Not heavily dependent on water sources, they move freely across dry landscapes. With a top speed of roughly 35 to 37 miles per hour and a long stride, their movement is highly efficient, allowing them to outpace most predators, which forces any would-be attacker to approach with extreme caution. While the distance remains safe, a pride of lions begins to coordinate, gradually tightening the circle. Instead of charging immediately, they maneuver from multiple directions, repeatedly feinting, closing in, and then backing off to maintain pressure. As a lion draws nearer, the giraffe stands its ground rather than fleeing, constantly pivoting to keep the mounting threat directly in its sights. The moment the gap narrows, the reaction is instantaneous. The giraffe lashes out with a powerful hind kick, aiming straight for the approaching lion's head. The force of the counterattack compels the lion to retreat immediately to avoid injury. After several failed attempts to close the distance effectively, the attack loses all momentum, and the pride is forced to abandon the hunt. As the pressure subsides, the encircling formation breaks apart. In such open terrain, the ability to observe and react at the right moment is decisive. For animals with such a distinct physical advantage, a single well-placed counterstrike is enough to halt the entire hunting strategy. Across the vast grasslands of Yellowstone, where rivers and lakes provide a reliable year-round water supply, North American bison move in herds with a slow, steady rhythm. An adult can weigh over 1,800 pounds, with high shoulders, a thick neck, and wide, curved horns forming a natural defense. They typically maintain a calm, commanding presence over their surroundings. Yet, at the slightest sign of the unusual, that composure shifts instantly the very moment a threat begins to close in. Is enough to halt the entire hunting strategy. Staying far enough away to remain undetected, the lion lowers its body, keeps the wind in its favor, and tracks the herd's movement. It moves in fits and starts, silently closing the gap foot by foot. When an individual drifts out of sync, an opening quickly emerges. Without hesitation, the lion bursts into a sprint, charging straight for the weak point and aiming to flank the target from behind to cut off its escape before it can react. Before the approach can be completed, the prey's reaction explodes. The bison pivots almost instantly, lowering its neck and sweeping its horns forward to exert direct, crushing pressure. The lion's momentum is shattered, and its attack loses control, forcing it to slow down and veer off course to avoid a collision. The gap is broken, the advantage shifts completely, and the lion is forced to abandon the hunt. As the movement ceases, the landscape returns to stillness. In this open environment with few obstacles, any misstep is quickly exposed. The prey's composure is not a weakness, but a state of readiness to react. For the predator, a decision off by even half a beat is enough to completely turn the tide. In nature, every confrontation begins with a distance maintained and gradually shortened step by step. Wolves don't charge immediately. They maintain rhythm, pressure direction, and force their opponent to react constantly. From grasslands to dense forests, and then to icy regions. Pressure is maintained, space is narrowed, and discrepancies begin to appear. And when the rhythm is no longer maintained, the balance immediately shifts, directly leading to the outcome of the confrontation. In the open environment, wolves maintain their hunting instincts by moving in formations and maintaining tight control of distance. They don't charge in immediately, but observe, track, and wait for the right moment to close the gap. The wolf's strength lies not in a single individual, but in their ability to coordinate and maintain a common rhythm throughout the approach. As the distance shortens, each individual begins to adjust their position, to create pressure from multiple directions. The goal is not to attack immediately, but to gradually reduce the prey's mobility. In nature, a wolf's hunt is determined by patience and the ability to control the entire space surrounding the target. In icy regions, the wolf reacts to threat by maintaining its position and closely monitoring the approaching enemy. Upon detecting an approach, it doesn't move but remains in place, focusing on the enemy's movements. Its strong teeth and sharp claws allow it to control close-range engagements with consistent intensity. However, when pressure emerges from multiple directions, this stability begins to be challenged. While maintaining distance, the wolf approaches slowly and begins to probe cautiously. Upon detection, the wolf charges forward, maintaining a continuous attack rhythm to halt the approach. The wolf reacts by retreating briefly, then approaches again from multiple directions but fails to maintain consistent pressure. The clear shift begins when the wolf maintains a continuous attack rhythm at very close range. The wolf maintains high intensity, forcing the wolf to react intermittently and gradually show hesitation. The outcome was determined when the wolves retreated, no longer maintaining contact due to increased risk. In the jungle, wild boars typically maintain distance by making short, rapid turns and constantly changing direction when threatened. They turn directly and use their fangs to control the approach area. These short but powerful reactions help them maintain distance in close-range situations. However, when forced to constantly turn, their control becomes disrupted. While the wild boar maintains its movement rhythm, wolves begin to form a group and approach from multiple directions. One individual advances to draw attention, while others approach from the flanks and rear. They strike quickly and retreat, repeating this rhythm to force the wild boar to react continuously and gradually lose its stability. The change becomes apparent when the wild boar can no longer maintain its initial turning rhythm. Each reaction consumes more energy, while the wolves maintain distance and continue the approach cycle. As speed decreases, the distance narrows, and the outcome is determined in a short time. In the cold tundra, musk oxen maintain close proximity and react immediately to threat. They quickly form a circle, heads facing outward, horns always ready. The young are kept in the center, the safest part of the pack. When the formation remains intact, the defensive posture is maintained for an extended period. While the formation is still intact, wolves approach from a distance and observe. They don't charge immediately but maintain distance, creating pressure that forces the musk oxen to maintain a constant defensive posture. Then, the wolves begin controlled harassment, closing in and then withdrawing, forcing the pack to shift positions repeatedly. The rhythm of the defense gradually shifts as stability is no longer maintained. The turning point occurs when an individual can no longer hold its position and is separated from the protective circle. The wolves immediately focus on this target and maintain pressure in an alternating rhythm. Repeated approaches cause the target to rapidly exhaust its stamina. The outcome is determined when the isolated individual is no longer able to maintain distance. The entire outcome is decided not in a single moment, but through a series of stages that weaken its defensive capabilities. While maintaining its structure, the musk ox is almost impossible to approach. But once separated, the situation shifts to a prolonged physical confrontation. The sequence is clear: maintain pressure, disrupt formation, then isolate the target. In the vast grasslands, bison move slowly and maintain close proximity to stay together. When danger is detected, they quickly form a circle, heads facing outward, with the calf at the center. This structure helps stabilize the situation and maintain a defensive rhythm. However, the longer this state lasts, the more apparent the pressure builds. While the formation remains stable, wolves appear at the edges, monitoring every subtle change. They don't charge immediately but maintain distance, forcing the bison to remain constantly on the defensive. Then, the wolves begin controlled harassment, closing in and then withdrawing, causing the herd to shift and gradually lose their synchronicity. The rhythm of movement begins to deviate from its original state. Weakness is revealed when a young animal loses its footing and separates from the protective circle for even a brief moment. The wolves immediately focus all their attention on this target and maintain constant pressure. Without the support of the pack, the isolated individual quickly loses its ability to maintain its position. The outcome is determined the moment the distance is no longer maintained. Looking back at the entire sequence of events, the outcome was already predetermined. As the formation is pulled apart, the ability to defend itself diminishes step by step. The sequence is clear: maintaining pressure, breaking down the structure, then isolating the target. This is a confrontation between one side maintaining the organization and the other constantly breaking down the organization. Caribou maintain their safety by moving in large packs and keeping a steady pace on long journeys. The dense formation allows individuals to support each other, minimizing the risk of separation. As long as the pace remains stable, the entire pack operates almost as a unified whole, but even a small change can cause gaps to appear in this connection. From a distance, wolves observe with a low pace to conserve energy. When the distance is reduced, they suddenly accelerate, creating pressure that causes the pack to disperse and lose its rhythm. Wolves don't attack indiscriminately, but choose a slow individual, usually a young or weak one, and then pursue that single target. Rough terrain disrupts the pack's formation. A young one stumbles, and the mother's call doesn't change the course of events. The distance continues to shorten. The wolves maintain constant pressure, forcing the target to lose its ability to maintain its pace. When completely isolated, the outcome is determined in a very short time. The advantage of the herd no longer exists once the formation has been broken. Looking back at the preceding sequence of movements, the outcome was determined from the moment the formation began to fracture. Once cohesion is broken, the ability to defend is no longer maintained. The events unfold in a clear sequence: separation of the herd, isolation, and then a swift conclusion. This strategy relies on controlling the pace of movement and maintaining pressure on a single target. No confrontation ends instantly. Everything builds over time. The wolf sets the pace, dictates direction, and forces the opponent to wear itself down little by little. When the ability to sustain is gone, distance disappears, and pressure becomes absolute. That's how the hunt concludes, not by sheer strength, but by controlling the entire course of events.